Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening everyone and welcome along to round 4 of the AOR Hype Season 19 PC F1 League. We are here at the Suzuka International Circuit for the Japanese Grand Prix, F1's classic Figure 8 circuit. A fan favourite on the calendar due to its history, track difficulty and its location as well, because the Japanese fans flock in their thousands to watch this event, and 9 times out of 10 they are not let down by the racing that is put on show. The circuit's legacy is written in the history books, being the venue of so many famous events that F1 fans will definitely remember. Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost colliding 2 years in a row at championship deciders, Michael Schumacher winning his first world championship with Ferrari in 2000, and who can forget Kimi Raikkonen's 2005 victory from the back of the grid. The track then 5.81 kilometers of various twists and turns, 18 of them to be precise, with only one DRS zone down the start-finish straight, making it the only circuit alongside Monaco to not feature at least 2 DRS zones. Some of the most well-known corners are stationed here at Suzuka: the S's, Dunlop, Degner, Spoon, and of course 130R taken flat out in these cars. Speaking of being flat out, 66% of the lap here is taken at full throttle, so qualifying should be interesting, as grid position is key, as the nature of this circuit makes it quite tricky to overtake it, even with this calibre of drivers. You should be seeing the softs having the major role in qualifying, with the one stop from the red tyres to the mediums being the optimal strategy for today's race, as like in Silverstone, the tyres tend to fare alright here, but that is very dependent on how hard the drivers want to push. My name is James Costello, and I'll be one of your commentators for tonight's race, and once again, joining me in the commentary box is my partner in crime, Jens. It's fair to say, Jens, that this championship has had its fair share of drama, and it feels like we're just getting underway, although after tonight we will be a third of the way through the season. What are we going to expect from today's race, though?
Well, from today's race we're going to be seeing a close fight towards the top, and let's not spare ourselves of any of the action. Let's just go directly to the qualifying, where we have most of the drivers out on track, and of course we're going to see this close battle. Unfortunately, we are not going to see the battle between the 2 championship contenders at the top. In the championship, there's currently 1 point between them, and it is Speed Barry at the top and Nicholas Longway in second place. But unfortunately, Speed Barry is not here tonight, but we of course hope that he will be back next week, and we will see those 2 fighting out on track.
In shock news, I've been disconnected from the session.
Oh, of course you have. Right. As I said, most of the drivers are out on track currently to set their first banker laps, and as you can currently see, Bono Ruiz is giving some help to his teammate Preschneider there, something that we both saw last week and the week before that at both Belgium and at Silverstone. These drivers just giving each other, their teammate, that slipstream down the straight, and then returning the favour when they are on their in-laps. So that will of course improve their times, and it is of course not only the teammates themselves that are helping each other from the teams in game, but also the different other teams they're in outside of AOR.
Oh dear.
Can't
We're going to have another France, gents. Press ready up instead of spectate.
Oh no! Right, so we'll be risking you driving when we come into the race. That's
Oh no, I can just ask for I just asked for another invite from one of the drivers and just rejoin.
Oh yeah, because yeah. Right, so we're currently seeing the first couple of times come in, and currently have Michael on provisional pole position with a 126.6. Michael, one of the drivers who we often see at the top there in the qualifying sessions, he currently have one pole position, but it is Nicholas who is in there with the most pole positions this season. He has 2. So it is going to be interesting to see who of those 2 or who of any of the other drivers will get the pole position, because it is always so close at the top come the end of the different qualifying sessions. As we currently see here, Nicholas getting a small slipstream pull from his teammate. His teammate currently in 10th place, but Nicholas coming through the final chicane there and through the final right-hander there, passing the pit lane entry, opens the DRS across the line, but I believe his lap time got invalidated, but I believe that it would have been quick enough to be slotting in right between Michael and Bono. He's towards the top of the grid.
Yeah, as I said in the intro, qualifying is definitely going to be interesting. Obviously, the track being, well, as challenging as it is, and only having one DRS, so it does make it quite tricky to overtake. Although, down the front straight, if you get a good run out the final corner, which does have that infamous bump, it is quite, well, it is more unlikely that you can have a chance to overtake. But in terms of qualifying, time-wise, well, we should be seeing, I don't even know if we should, what to expect, really, because a 26, low 26 would probably be a very good lap time, but honestly, Jen, would we be surprised if someone dipped into the 25s? No, not at all. I wouldn't be at all surprised, even though the fast time at the moment is only a 26.8 from Bono. But yeah, the magic of these drivers can produce anything. So we'll have to wait and see what happens at the latter stage of this qualifying session. But some good times on show so far. But still a lot of drivers that still haven't set their first lap times. As you mentioned, Crow, not yet set his first lap time. Obviously, took the win last time out and did take pole with a stunning 25-1. Is he going to repeat any sort of magic today? I guess we're just going to have to wait and find out.
Yes, that is really the best thing to do in qualifying with just about 10.5 minutes to go. Currently Hypers down in 13th place, unfortunately got his lap invalidated coming through Spoon. If you just go a bit too wide there, then the game will automatically go through and validate your lap time. So he comes into the pits to fuel up for a new run and put on a fresh set of tyres. But let's find someone who's going to start their lap soon. Maybe we could go on board with Preshnader. He has not really been up there all the time this season, but let's just jump on board with him for his qualifying lap when he gets that far. Currently coming through 130 and then through that final chicane, and then it is all about getting the perfect exit here. You see going him a bit further to the right than normal, and then just putting it flat out down through the final corner, opens the DRS, then it's just flat out over quite a bumpy circuit down towards turn 1, where you're going through most of the first corner just flat out before braking just about halfway through, as I see my co-commentator has finally joined back in. Then coming through the S's, Preshnader does up towards that Dunlop left-hander there, flat out going through up over that small crest, and then coming down towards the Degners of turn 8 and then through turn 9, Now he'll have to watch out for two slower moving drivers up ahead. Maybe he can get a bit of slipstream pull down the straight. The two Mercedes teammates up in front there, they get nicely out of the way as he comes through that 180 turn, that hairpin curve, then through the long turn 12, the long right hander there, then up through the spoon curve, that left hander, first hitting apex number 1, then apex number 2, coming out on the other side down the back straight, getting some slipstream from his teammate Bono. He's there, then down towards 130R. Will he take it flat out? Yes, he will, hitting the apex there, taking it neat towards the left hand side, then braking hard into that final chicane, hitting the apex perfectly, then going through the final corner there over the bump, opens the DRS. What will this time be able to produce? Only third place for him for now.
It's close. The finest of margins can decide. As there goes Michael improving once again. Thankfully, I was back. Well, I've joined the lobby for the second time. The first time I tried to rejoin, he actually was decent for me. So, thankfully, I can see the glory of that lap, and hopefully, if he's leading at the front, it'd be very confusing if he was to be desynced on my screen. So, thankfully, that issue has been resolved, and Michael 26.5 on his second run out of potentially 3. If he can get back into the pits, which makes him 2.5 tenths clear of Matthias, actually, up there. That's a surprise. We don't usually see him this high. This is just qualifying, but that's a very, very competitive lap from the reserve driver who's been switching cars left, right and centre for the first 4 races of the season, now in the Toro Rosso, to take Cruz's spot, I think. That's a surprise seeing him up there. That's the new name to, the usual Michael, Bono, Presnado, Roy. Obviously, we're still yet to see Crow get out there and set his first lap time of the session. Which has 6 minutes to go. This qualifying session, still being without a lap time, can put the pressure on and can force drivers into making some errors, just pushing over the limit of what these cars can achieve, even though these cars can achieve such high speeds through these challenging corners. But one little mistake and this track will punish. In certain corners like the Degners, Dunlop, through the S's, make one mistake into the barriers, will definitely go. So that's one thing the drivers have to be very wary about. As Simon actually, 26.4, obviously another reserve driver, obviously a Renault driver, but obviously I was taking the Mercedes due to the fact that both Renault drivers, Crow and Brownie, are both in today's race. Speaking of Crow, here he comes, round the final corner.
Invalid lap time.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
This might put some pressure on him, because now with 2 invalidated lap times, he really needs to get one in. With only 5 minutes to go, he needs not only a quick time, but he also needs to be wary of the now 2 different places he's cut the corners or extended the track, because the first time it was through the spoon curve. Last time I saw it was already invalidated as he came into that hairpin up towards the spoon curve. So that's interesting, and that might see a quicker time or a slower time if he can't cope with the pressure. But that'll of course be interesting to see come the end of the qualifying, what he'll be able to produce. I see Camille coming through the final corner. I saw he put purple in the second sector, but only enough for 7th place.
So, with 4.5 minutes to go this qualifying session, the pressure is mounting for Crow. Obviously, the fact that Speedbari, well, he might attend. He's in the he's in the group chat and begging for an invite. So hopefully one of the drivers, as unfortunately us commentators actually do not have the permission, or there's no feature to invite any drivers, which is very unfortunate, because I would highly love to see Speedbari in this race. But even if Crow needs to get a move on, obviously, he can vastly take advantage. As some of the drivers, like Bonner, who is third in the championship, and Michael, obviously looking to bounce back after a very disappointing Silverstone. These guys will be looking to take advantage of Speedbari's non-presence, and you know, potentially take the championship lead, because Speed Barry has been, well, leading the way since Belgium, really, and, you know, Crow still in the pits, just waiting for the right moment to get out of the pits. Needs to put in a very decent lap time, because the last thing you want to do is start right at the back at a circuit where it is so hard to now. I mean, I did obviously mention Kimi Räikkönen. I think he might have started from 17th back then, but it was definitely far down the field. I don't really see Crow being able to repeat any of the Finn's magic today, especially because these drivers will not give up without any fight. Especially these drivers that are looking to impress after a very disappointing start to the season. Like Kuipers, for example, who, you know, second place last season, still hasn't been up to speed so far this season. This is a time for these sort of drivers to just show what they're made of, really, and just, you know, and this is the perfect circuit to show the drivers' skill, because this circuit takes a lot out of the drivers, and, you know, the best will, you know, come out on top. So Crow is still yet to come out of the pits. We are seeing drivers come out for their final attempt. I think the first one that's going to start their final, or potentially second to last attempt, will be Michael, I think?
Matthias. And then Michael behind him.
Alright then.
And then after that will be Camille, and then Preshnade, I believe. And then in the end of that train we have Brownie, and then I believe all the second drivers in that train will come out, and then they'll give a bit of slipstream to their teammates come the end of the different laps. Currently we're seeing Camille, our first driver, coming through the Dunlop curve flat out there, then in through the Degners, turn 8 and 9 there, then under the bridge where the back straight goes over just before the 130R corner, through the hairpin there and up towards Spoon through that very far right-hander. Coming up to a bit of traffic. This could maybe benefit him just a tiny bit. Oh, that was close there. Ooh, that could have ended up in a major crash, but I don't think it has caused too much time lost for Matthias. He's getting a bit of slipstream there from Williams Jim Roy. He's currently down in 9th place. But coming up to 130R, their ducks out of the way, and then coming through the left-hander into that final chicane, right, then left, cutting the corner just a bit, but it hasn't showed up as in that lap time, almost losing it through there, the final corner, across the line, he doesn't improve. What about Michael? Michael improves, 26.4, new fastest lap from him. Who will be the next car? I believe it is Brownie, as I think the Racing Points are starting their lap now. Actually no, it will be Preshnade first, then Brownie after that. So Preshnade coming through the final corner in his McLaren. What will he be able to produce? He is down in 7th place right now. Across the line, doesn't improve. What about Brownie? He improves. Oh, only down in 16th. Slowest of them all, but now Crow has started his lap. He hasn't set a lap time yet, but I think we'll just follow him for this lap. He desperately needs it. It'll be a fight for the top. Only 41 hundredths is splitting Simon and Michael in first place right now. Actually, I believe Bono Ruiz might be in front. No, he's behind him, sorry. So that won't be a point of following him. Infamous is retired. He doesn't feel that he can produce anything. So he will be starting down from 18th as he has not set a time. What about Hypers? Is he in front? Yes, he is. So let's just check Hypers out now, as you've left the session, unfortunately. He's coming through 130R now on his qualifying lap into the chicane. Left, or right, then left, then through the right-hander final corner there, crossing the DRS mark across the line. He improves, but it's only good enough for 5th place. Where's Crow now? Crow now coming up to his teammate of Brownie, getting some slipstream there down towards 130R. Will they follow each other through there? Yes, he will follow his teammate. Going to the left-hand side there into the final chicane. Right, locks up a bit, coming into it. Then left, then down towards that corner and the DRS. He opens it wide open across the line. and it's a new pole position, 1:26.4. Any other drivers behind able to challenge that time? Let's see. One of the Red Bull drivers came across the line. I think that was Camille. He couldn't improve. What about Andy Nater? No, he goes into the pits. Cardinov goes into the pits. And I think the rest of the drivers have finished their laps. No, Sones is still on his lap. Let's see. He's currently coming up towards the hairpin. He has very little ERS to play with, but I don't think he can challenge that pole time. But let's see when he comes. No, he's run out of fuel, so that won't be something he can do. So that is another pole position for Crow. A 1:26.426.
He left it late, didn't he? Wow. Just like, well, his counterpart last season in the Renault being Jarno Onme, the pressure of, you know, putting a lap time in, no banker laps, all invalid lap times, just put in, you know, a fast lap, 300ths quicker than anyone else. Crow is special. Wow, I want a circuit to take pole as well, where, as I said, track position is key. Thankfully, I've now managed to rejoin the session. Unfortunately, the game is playing up with me. So we'll see how far I last in terms of this session. But wow, what a qualifying session! The grid, a massive Renault sandwich if you discount Infamous not taking part. 8/10 separating the two Renaults, making up first and 17th in the grid. And good news, Speed Bari is in the session, starting last and probably not in the Williams. But Speed Bari is now racing, which is great to see, but given the nature of the circuit, it'll be very hard for him to make up a lot of ground, but it's just nice to see his name be obviously the top of the championship at the moment. Let's see what he can do. Obviously, I hope that he'll be able to pick a setup, as if he can't, then it's pretty much game over, because setup can affect you so much, and these drivers get setups perfectly right, and that's one of the reasons why they are so quick at this game. So again, I think he is starting with default setup because Park Ferme's on, so oh dear.
Yeah, he will not be able to change his setup. So that's going to be interesting to see what he'll be able to do from last place in the grid, as we are coming up to the formation lap here. Let's see what tyres the drivers will be starting on from an overcast Suzuka. So we might see some rain if we're lucky, but well, the whole of the top 10 of course starting on their qualifying tyre, which is soft, and then I believe, if my game is not tricking me, the rest of the drivers will be starting on the medium tyre, so the alternate strategy from their point of view.
Yeah, the exact same as Bahrain, where the top 10 started on the softs and the bottom, well, 9 I should say, are on the medium. So the softs should last around 8 laps, give or take 2 or 3, depending on how our drivers want to push out in the early exchanges. And then obviously they'll go on to the mediums, and obviously the medium tyre runners at the start will go on to the softs. Probably around when there's about 10, 11 laps to go. If their strategy does work, which is, you know, you can't really say for definite in this tier, because incidents can happen and do happen. And at a track so prestigious and challenging as Suzuka, we could see, you know, a few incidents, especially the S curves, where, you know, 2 or 3 wide on the opening lap can result. We have seen incidents, we have commented on incidents before where drivers have collided, but hopefully, for the driver's sake, everyone gets through this first lap cleanly, because we want to see a really enthralling race. And, well, based off qualifying and based off the overcast conditions, we could be set for a pretty interesting race. No news as of yet of how the weather is going to affect this race. Will we see any wet rain like in Spa? It's been a one race no rain, one race rain, one race no rain, and then potentially we could see one race rain. We'll have to see. Japan, obviously, the real life qualifying in 2019 obviously did get suspended for monsoon weather, so it's not unusual to see any wet weather here in Suzuka. But if the drivers have to face it, I'm sure they're going to give it their all through the 27 laps of Suzuka, and I am really looking forward to round 4 of this season. We had many twists and turns so far in the opening 3 races, and when the 5 red lights go out, a long wait, but round 4 is finally underway with a good start from Crow. He's completely jumped Michael. Simon tucked in behind the top 2, with Bono going wheel to wheel with Leopard for 4th and 5th, with Camille in 6th going wheel to wheel through the first 2 corners. I think everyone's got through pretty much unscathed. There's few side by side going through the S-curve. The 2 Toro Rossos getting into a scrap, Matthias and Antonator, but as he heads through the Degner curve now, the Dunlop curve I should say, as there goes Hypers completely around the outside court. His Polish compatriot of Camille napping there. What a start from the Polish driver in the Alfa Romeo, up into 6th place. At the front, it's as you were with Crow leading the way from Michael, who has escaped carnage from last time out. Obviously, last time out he was at the back completely, but now he's able to challenge the driver in front of him, which is Crow. And yeah, I think the only driver who's had a bit of an incident is Jan Fehler down at the back. So he's obviously had a spin somewhere, which is not unusual to see. One driver getting caught up on the back, and the 2 racing points being at the back as well. Speed bar make up a few decisions at the start, but at the front, again, not really much has happened. It's pretty clean.
Yes, and Speed bar, even though he has gained positions, he will lose them immediately, because as I noticed, he jumped the start and got a drive-through penalty. So he has not gotten the Japanese weekend that he would have wanted, starting out with not being able to get into qualifying and then starting it out with a drive-through penalties. Let's see if he will take it on this lap, or yes, he will, going straight into the pits and losing all the positions he has gained off the start. Very, very unfortunate from his side, and I think that might have just thrown his race completely away and his chances of scoring some great points towards the championship today.
Yeah, it was an uphill battle right from the start for Speed Bari, and you know he's made it even more difficult for himself. A safety car and a few more miracles will be what he'll need to take any points in today's Grand Prix, which means that the championship will probably be diverted to, well, Crow, Michael, Bono potentially. It all depends really on the outcome of this race. Obviously Crow being the favourite, obviously being in the lead at the moment and only being 1 point behind Speed Bari in the championship as of now, but Michael is definitely giving him a run for his money. Obviously Speed Bari's teammate in the championship, and obviously looking to do well for Williams. Obviously looking at the only real point scorer for the Williams camp today, even though Speed Bari is classified as an Alfa Romeo for this race, but he will still be considered a Williams driver. But into the Vale chicane, we're on Japan. Sorry, it's been a long week. But into the Kasu Triangle it's called in Suzuka. Crow leads away on lap 3. DRS will be enabled on this lap, which will benefit the likes of Michael, who's really close, and also Leopard, who's right on the tail of Bono. Bono's just fallen off the tail of the top 3. Just needs to get within that DRS range, otherwise he will come under pressure from the Ferrari, and also Hypers, who's tucked in behind Leopard as well. So drivers are tucking in behind one another for the opening exchanges. And I think, unlike in Silverstone, I think we will see a few more incidences. Oh, Leopard, I just mentioned him. Has he spun off? Oh, he has.
Yeah, he has. He was for a short while just completely in the wrong direction there, but onto the track he goes again, or overtaken by Fehler as well. So he's all the way down into 18th now, and with a long while up to the rest of the drivers ahead. So this means now that Hypers has had an even better start, jumping up 3 positions in the first 3 laps. And Camille there picking up a 3-second time penalty. and with it all being so close towards that end of the grid, that's really not what he would have wanted.
And by leopard spinning, that means Bonnehuis got a little bit of breathing room. Hypers is within DRS range, but obviously a bit too far behind. But we start lap 4, DRS is now enabled. You can see Michael using it to his benefit, and also Simon as well. But again, just this turn 1 is so tricky to mount a challenge. You don't really want to be going wheel to wheel into there. You want to, if you want to get a move done, you want to be fully ahead into the braking zone, and just trust that your rival will be compliant in battle, of which you would expect these drivers to do so. Speed Barry actually, even with a default setup and medium tyres, sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, which shows that he's not giving up on this race just yet, even though down in 19th and plumb last after that drive-through at the start of the Grand Prix. Where his teammate is still challenging Crow, and it doesn't look like he's going to settle for second place in today's race. And Simon just lurking right behind them, ready to pounce. Obviously his first race of the season, I do believe. I know how quick he can be from last season, and just his league racing career in general. Obviously an esports driver as well. In the Mercedes for today's race, he'll be very eager to make some moves when the opportunity, if the opportunity arises. Because at the moment it just looks like Michael's getting so much down the straight, but again, like in Silverstone, just saving ERS and just tucking him behind the driver, because that's the tactic. If drivers want to overtake, like, they can easily overtake if they want to, but the drivers don't want to. Although I'm completely saying that. Here goes Michael, going to try and challenge around the outside. There's no room. Crow defends well and prevents the Greek driver from making any sort of challenge for the time being round the outside at turn 1. Well done from Crow to keep the lead, but Michael doesn't seem to be done with business just yet.
No, and I was just looking at the ERS capacity. Yes, I know it's early in the race, but it is still an important thing to look at. Michael has a bit more than Crow in first, and Simon sitting behind those two with approximately the same. They're all in that 70 to 85% range, so they're saving it well up here ahead, with a almost 1.5 second gap from Simon down to Bonnehuis in 4th. So I think we'll be able to see an almighty scrap for the win if these drivers just can hold up and save the ERS come the end, or maybe we'll see some alternate strategies, or if the rain would come, it would be even better. But these three drivers all really skilled up towards the top, and all driving their own race whilst just being in this three-way train at the front. But Michael and Simon not really trying to overtake, but as we saw last lap, Michael had a small look. What about this lap round? Will he try? I think he's a bit further back than last lap. He isn't quite on the tail of Crow as he was last lap, and no, he's a bit too far back, but further behind. Hypers going for the overtake on Bonnehuis, up into 4th place for him now. He'll be going chasing after that front free train, and he's already caught up around 2-3 tenths on that train, almost within the second already, just going through the S section. You can really see how those drivers are just taking it slow towards the front, and now already within the second, only 9 tenths up to Simon. So Hyper's really trying to make up for his bad start to the season. Of course, he got an 8th place in the first race, and he didn't start the Belgium Grand Prix, and then he finished immediately 18th in the British Grand Prix, so only 4 points for him, so he'll be hoping to get some good points, as I think Roy has had some issues, maybe along with Preschnader in the hairpin.
Preschnader's slow. Probably.
I don't quite know. I just know there were some yellow flags, and I think Roy was stopped in that second sector.
I'm checking back on the stream right now. Oh dear, yes, they were in 9th and 10th, and then they plummeted down 5 positions each. So they must have been caught up in an incident because they were right next to each other on track, and they still are, although much further down than they used to be. But yeah, as Matthias actually passes Camille in the battle for P6 in this race. But Jen, do you think these drivers are going slow? I die to be this quick on the game. I can't even go this quick on a qualifying lap round here. Never mind on a race stint. But regardless, let's not compare my trash driving ability to these quality drivers on show tonight, which we have the pleasure of commentating over. Are we going to see any rain developments? That's my only real speculation as to why drivers have started on the medium tyres. Every single one of them have started on outside the top 10 have started on the medium tyres. Although Jim Roy is now converted onto the hard tyres, so he's obviously making that brave decision to make his one and only pit stop potentially, and on the hard and slower tyres. So interesting to see him. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe his incident caused front wing damage, and obviously that's very effective. Having a loss of any end plates on your front wing, because downforce is key here. You're going to act like an F2 car with a less of a front wing. But yeah, interestingly, he's going for that strategy, whilst obviously the optional being the medium strategy. Obviously down in the last position now, obviously the only one to make a pit stop in today's race as of yet. But this is a time where the soft tyres do usually give up the ghost. So we might be seeing some drivers, maybe Crow, might start to struggle. It depends how hard these drivers have really pushed on this opening stint. Obviously Michael is right up Crow's chuff, so you know, obviously he'll be pressurising him all the way up until the end of the race, the end of this stint, definitely. Pit stops are definitely going to be crucial because undercuts can be effective here, but drivers can perform the overcut and it can work. If I was Crow, I'd just take the safe bet and just pit as early as possible to make sure to cover any threat of any undercut from drivers behind. Because who knows what will happen in the next few laps. Maybe drivers might get held up in pits. A lot of different things can happen in the next few laps regarding the pit stops, but one thing is for sure, we know that the pit stops are going to be coming in the next few laps, and it's who's going to make it. We have the top 4, or top 5, all within DRS range of each other. Bono is just about tagging along. For the back, it's 3.5 seconds behind, so it really is a battle between the top 5 for today's Grand Prix win. As of now, any driver is going to come into the pits. Michael darts, and the last seconds into the pits, slows it down nice and early. He is the one to bolt first into the pit lane, assuming he'll go on the mediums. Crucially, where will he come out? Because he could come out in a bit of traffic. He might come out ahead of Presned if he's lucky. Obviously, Williams being at the back of the pit lane means he doesn't have to wait long to get back on track. No, he's behind Presned, behind Leopard, behind Failer, ahead of Speed Bori though, just about.
Just about.
He's got enough clean air, I'd say, to not be held up at that much, but I think he's going to catch up to the likes of Failer, Leopard and Presned quite quickly, and that might be a bit troublesome in the next few minutes.
Yeah, and I've been looking at the sky these last 2 laps whilst we were talking tyre strategy, and I'm sad to admit that it is clearing up. I'm beginning to see the sun a bit more, and I've been looking at the same patch of sky for the last 2 minutes every time they've been driving by, and it's getting more and more blue, not more grey as we would have hoped. But instead of the rain, we can hopefully see some tyre strategy, and with Michael pitting earlier than these 3 or 4 at the front, he might be caught in some traffic, or he might have gotten it bang on right as we're coming up now. Crow pits. Crow responds to Michael on this lap. The same does Bono Ruiz. Maybe it's a response to Crow or Michael. Further back, Matthias and Camille also pits. So 3 of the top 4 has gone in for the medium tyres. Let's see where they'll all filter out compared to each other. Currently further down, we have Michael.
Oh no, it's going to be close.
Michael, right in front of Crow. Michael has jumped Crow in the pit stops right there. By about 0.4 of a second, Michael is in front. And then Speedbaro right behind, still in 13th and far down the grid. Might he be able to pick up some positions? Bono, he's 14th. Quite a bit of a gap up there. He might have gotten held up in the pits. But Michael jumping Crow.
Yeah, but look at the cars they've got in front of them. It might not mean much in the grand scheme of things. Yes, Michael's now ahead, but he has to traverse these cars because Failer's not going to pit for a while. Leopard, obviously, I think will, and then Presator won't pit for a while. So it's Failer who's his first obstacle. Failer does have DRS. He's just clinging onto DRS from Leopard. Obviously, after those two obviously had very bad starts. Unfortunate for them, as now Hypers and Simon now are into the pits for their first pit stop. They should probably emerge behind Michael and Crow. Here comes Michael now with a DRS right behind Failer. Even with Failer's DRS, I think it'll be a breeze past the Haas driver, and there he goes, wheel to wheel, as we see the Mercedes coming out, the pit stops, and there goes Michael through, up into 8th place ahead of Jan Failer. Crow can't follow through, and through this S section, you're going to see Michael just start to pull away whilst he gets held up behind the Haas driver, because this is a one-way section. If Rose go wheel to wheel here, it's going to end in calamities, really. So Crow's next opportunity to overtake is probably into the hairpin. So let's see how he traverses his next few corners. Obviously, Michael now right behind Leopard, who's still yet to pit. Here goes Crow. Yang gives him the room round the outside. He goes. It's going to be more difficult than Michael found it, but he gets good traction out the hairpin to dart round the outside into the inside for the long right-hander. As there goes Michael up ahead, getting past Leopard nice and easily. Leopard really didn't make that too difficult for the Greek driver, and now there is once again one driver between the top two currently, provisionally. So yeah, Michael now thankfully still ahead of Leopard and Crow. As there goes Simon now past his CRG compatriot up into 10th place. He goes, and Hypers now will probably get past Jan Failer. Four drivers getting past Failer on one lap, which should be expected, to be honest. Failer's just Failer knows that this is not their fight. It's fight to battle, as Leopard now finally comes into the pits. The last driver who's starting on the softs to now come in for his mediums.
Yes, and as we're seeing towards the front, currently Gianfranco leads on his medium tyres. These drivers will come in some laps time, and then we'll finally see the provisional front drivers of Michael, Crow, Simon and Hypers jump up the boards. Or might they even catch up to some of the drivers ahead, maybe Brownie and Preschnader, if they really have some speed. Of course, Crow and Michael at the front trying to build that gap down towards Simon and Hypers, but still they're all within the second of each other. So it'll be interesting to see come the end. Of course, Crow has lost a bit more to Michael. Michael now 8/10. So that's something that you'll have to watch out for, that he doesn't fall outside that second.
Yeah, definitely, and Michael's teammate, Speed Bari, is doing a fine job, given the circumstances he's put himself in. Overtaking Jan Failer, obviously still right at, it's very doubtful he's going to get any points in today's race. But he can still hope. Obviously, he's still very quick. In fact, he is using default setup. But his teammate in the championship, Michael, in a much better position. And he could. I don't think he'll be taking the championship lead. I think Crow is pretty certain to take the championship lead, unless he makes a catastrophic mistake. But yeah, Michael is now right behind Presator. Obviously, Presator, who could have took the win last time out, had it not been for him colliding with Crow. Obviously now down in a much lower position. 6th at the moment, but obviously he has yet to pit. and he's got all these drivers right behind him, very, very quick and eager to get past him. As now this is the time where President is starting to hold up Michael a little bit and this train, because Simon is right on the tail of Crow and Hypers is only 8 tenths behind the Mercedes. Unfortunately, Bono is just had a bit of a trouble as Bono's teammate President is now passed by Michael. As you said, Jen, I think Bono did get held up in the pits or had a front wing change, one of the two reasons why he's much further behind. As now here goes Crow along the straight down towards 130 AOR, will breeze past President, who gives up without really resilience, and there goes Simon, gonna go wheel to wheel, and President backs out sensibly. Once again knows that these guys are not in his fight. Although last time out he was in the fight for the lead. Unfortunately, that's just not how it worked out for today's Grand Prix. But there's always next time, and I know he'll be much quicker next time around. But here's the battle for the lead: Michael versus Crow versus Simon versus Hypers, who's still yet to be cleared by President. But yeah, it's when Crow's going to make his move. Obviously, Crow wasn't in this position last time out. Obviously, he was the one defending for the lead. Now he's the one attacking. Obviously, a much different approach now, but we know how quick he can be when trying to attack. But when there's opportunity, when do they want to attack? Obviously, you think you'd want to attack late in the Grand Prix, giving Michael less time to respond. But he needs to, if he wants to do that, he has to be conservative enough to keep Michael within distance, otherwise he'll get tailed off and then Simon will definitely overtake him. So a lot going on for Crow at the moment. Obviously a lot to think about ahead of him and behind him as this trade commences for 6th place at the moment, but obviously it's a provisional battle for the lead of the Grand Prix, and halfway through this race once again it's very hard to call.
Yes, and currently looking at Hypers. Yellow flag sector 3, that's for Sones. Sones in the wall after 130R there. Almost backed out on track. And that could have been quite a dangerous situation as the drivers came through at high speed as President now pits. And as I was about to say, Hyper's not really getting past President. That has made him fall back a bit, but with those 3 drivers up ahead driving so close, I don't think he'll have much trouble catching back up. But as you saw coming through turn 1 there, just driving nose to tail, almost clipping each other's front wing as they came through. But Crow sitting back there thinking when to make the move, and Michael constantly ready to jump to the defense if Crow would go for it. But he has to watch out behind him because Simon is always there to pounce on any mistake he makes.
And that's the thing, isn't it? And especially if someone makes a mistake, they will be punished at this circuit, potentially off into the gravel trap or the grass or even the barriers, but also losing positions as well. So as we approach lap 16 with Infamous leading, the medium runners will surely come into the pits sooner rather than later. President was the first one to pit, as was Zones, obviously, after that incident. And Infamous picking up his 2nd penalty of the evening, I'm pretty sure.
But here goes Simon on Crow. Round the outside, coming just after 130R. Crow now down into 7th place, which is 3rd. But will he come back at him with the DRS there? Yes, he will, trying to make it round the outside through turn 1, then 2. Oh, it's so close. So close. But Simon keeps the position right there and then. But I'm sure that Crow will be back at him as soon as he possibly can. But there, Crow losing another position. Oh, it's not what he would have wanted.
Well, it's not all won and lost, to be honest. I mean, to be fair, he's gone very deep into the Degna 2 there, and Hypers could pounce. Once again, we were mentioning mistakes, and Crow's starting to make a few little errors that in this tier will be punished severely compared to other tiers where he can maybe lose a 10th or 2 and not really feel any real mistake. Where in this tier, any little mistake will be punished on. And you can see Crow now losing a touch a little bit to the top, or the two drivers in front of him. With Simon making that move round the outside. That had Hulkenberg 2016 on Bottas flashbacks there from the Mercedes driver. And look how close he is to Michael now. It looks like Simon looks much more prepared to take on Michael than Crow might have been, as infamous Brownie and Gianfranco are the next three drivers to come into the pits, promoting these two guys up to second and third. But here goes Simon with DRS, breezing past the Williams and Michael into turn one. Michael didn't really put up much of a fight there, and let Simon through into the provisional leader of the Grand Prix. That's 2 overtakes in 2 laps for the German driver. Obviously, reserve his first race of the season, making a fantastic impression. We already know how quick he is, but his first race of the season, maybe we thought he might not be up to scratch with this game potentially, but no. Any doubts have been completely whitewashed, and now, in theory, well, when Codemasters pits, will lead the Grand Prix.
And look at that, Crow has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty. That could cost him dearly come the end of the race. I believe he's the only one of these top runners with a penalty in this race. So that is certainly not what he would have wanted. First losing a couple of positions, and now this. I think if these drivers at the top can keep it clean till the end of the race, maybe you can have a look at the warning situations for the other drivers. But if they can keep it clean come the end of the race, then this will cost him dearly.
Yeah, there's deja vu for Crow. Penalties costing him positions. Take Belgium as a prime example, although I don't think he'll be coming out on top on track today, unless the top 2 drivers collide. As now, with Cardinal pitting, Simon takes the lead for the first time. The run's a bit wide out of turn 2. Nearly got punished. Maybe Michael maybe saw a gap, but just wasn't big enough for him to try and pounce on that. So, as Crow now, maybe he might have lost a bit of focus. You need to be focused for the entire Grand Prix. And it's just, we don't often see Crow making these sort of mistakes, but it shows that he is human after all, which is obviously usual to see. But yeah, just losing a bit of touch between the top 2. Still right there, but not really making any inroads to potentially get back at Michael or even get back at Simon. Thankfully for him though, Hypers is in the same boat really, just can't really get close enough to try and mount an attack on Crow. Although I think he'd be happy with a podium if he can keep it on the road and obviously not get any penalties and just stay behind Crow. Obviously, he might have checked if Crow's got a penalty or not. If he doesn't, oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! This is not very good. Michael has left the session. Ooh. I'm currently seeing a migrating host flashing on screen. Ooh, this might be bad for the race, but let's just keep it going here as Crow comes up, overtaking Michael. Let's hope he can reconnect into the lobby sooner rather than later, because it was shaping up to be quite a fight for the win of this race, but now he is disconnected. And I hope I'm not going to have that migrating host for the rest of the race, but looks like it's going to carry on. Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. Desync's
the timing boards have decided to play trick or treat with us. Or hide and seek. I didn't. Yeah.
Oh yes, you must say. But let's try and keep this going and try and keep an eye on the leaders. Of course, now the addition of the track map can really come to our benefit, because now we can't see the gaps forming on the timing tower, but we can see them on track. But now let's keep an eye. I can see it's quite close between Hypers and Crow here, but Hypers still not wanting to pounce at Crow.
I think they fixed himself, the time boards, I think.
Let's hope. But yeah, Crow, of course, with that 3-second time penalty, I don't think Hypers is wanting to make too many moves since he's now up on the podium. He's getting that third place, and that'll give him quite some distance in the championship.
What we're going to remember is Bono's not that far behind. I mean, yes, in looking at it, it's obviously he's nowhere near close enough to try and potentially get past Crow, but given the the time boards are now playing more games with us, but Bono, looking at the gap between himself and Crow, it looks like wait, oh dear, oh no, I think Crow and Hypers are desynced. That's an ugly sight to see. So, well, Hypers is getting P2 anyway, but oh dear, it's very hard not to laugh at that.
Unfortunately, we're
not
experiencing.
PT at all.
No, unfortunately, we're experiencing these technical difficulties once again. Because last week we were also experiencing some, but let's hope this isn't a thing that'll carry on through the season. As it looks like the timing boards have gone okay again, but of course, there's nothing we can do. We can just try our best to keep it going, and it looks like Bono is trying to catch up that gap to Crow and Hypers. Bono, of course, only having to be within 3 seconds of Crow come the end of the Grand Prix. If that's something he knows, he doesn't have to use all of his ERS and enrich mix, but if he doesn't, he is still going to try and catch after him and try and overtake. Well, let's see come the end of the Grand Prix if he'll keep it in within those 3 seconds, as we don't quite know.
Never mind. Bono's got another 5-second time penalty, presumably for speeding in the pits.
Ooh.
Just like last time in Silverstone. So, unfortunately, unless he overtakes Crow and gains 2 seconds on him, Crow will still get the podium. To his delight, I'm assuming, because, well, it looked like a potential win after pole position. But, I mean, third place is still tremendous in this tier, but yeah, not the sort of afternoon he would have hoped for. But thankfully for him, his rivals, obviously Hypers hasn't had the best start of the season. Obviously Simon's still being a reserve. If he carries on with this pace and carries on racing, I hope he will take a seat, because obviously being reserve, you're not classified in the championship until you are given a seat. But Simon's still leading the way as we enter lap 20 of 27 from Hypers, from Crow, from Bono. Then comes Camille in P5. Tremendous job from him. Ahead of Matthias, so 2 Polish drivers running for 5th and 6th. Then Michael down in 7th. Plummeting down the field, like positions are going out of fashion. Kardanov in P8 on the softs. Infamous in P9, once again on the softs. And Brownie Presnir, who could salvage a point or two. Speed Barrio, damn. See, the Alfa Romeo is just, well, they aren't the game and the Alfa Romeos aren't communicating well with each other. As yeah, it's like a buffalo rider or one of them things you see in theme parks.
It's not all just negatives off of this, because if Bono can get past Crow, we don't know if he'll get the 2 seconds before the end. So that's, of course, that is a thing that we will be able to get a bit of excitement, because I believe he's caught up a little. Of course, the timing towers is going haywire, so we can't quite see that. But if he gets past Crow, he needs those 2 seconds, and we won't find out until the race ends.
The bad thing is for Bono, though, is that he can see both drivers in front of him. Crow can't see anyone, and Hypers can't see Crow. These 2 drivers can only see Bono right behind them. Hypers doesn't know that Crow's right behind him, and Crow doesn't know that Hypers right in front of him, but Bono knows that both of them are right in front of him. So if Bono wants to make moves, he's going to have to get past both of them So, for example, if he gets past Crow, and he sees, well, and Hyper sees Crow, like, taking different lines, he's going to be well confused. I mean, I was in a league racing situation where I was with a decent guy, and I was racing another guy who was, you know, taking inside lines and whatnot, which was quite confusing, and... Yeah, I mean, this whole situation is quite confusing. Once again, guys, we do apologise for the fact that the Time Lords are playing too many fun and games for us. Are we still on lap 19, or are the laps not counting? I feel like we've been on lap 19 for quite a while.
I don't know. As you can see up in the right hand corner, if you jump on board with any driver and you have the telemetry enabled, or the lap data, you'll see that the laps have been quite long.
Yeah, 8 minutes, Simon. 9 minutes just passing
So
now.
I'm not quite sure. We will find out when this race eventually ends. I think someone's Hyper's taking a defensive line, not quite sure why. Crow looks like he's going on a move, but they're desynced from each other. Bono, he's coming from behind. He's caught up a bit, I believe, as he's coming up towards the back of Crow. Let's see where he'll be mounting his challenge, as Simon, I believe, looking at the map down in the right hand corner, has built up quite a bit of a gap to these two drivers, as they are coming up to the hairpin.
I wonder if any of the drivers are like streaming their POV, and we could potentially like see what their POV is like, because we have no idea if the drivers are, you know, racing on whatever lap. Apparently Jim Roy was driving by himself, so he's had issues. Obviously now he's leading the Grand Prix on my screen, which obviously isn't true. Lapper's
leading for me. He's on 0 laps old medium tyres.
Oh dear. Photon's disconnected for me, everything's changing.
Mine's just saying migrating host.
Simon's started his whatever lap on 10 minutes and 42 seconds worth of lap time. But the one thing we can point out is that Bono is right close to these two guys. Whether this will count or not, again, we'll probably have to, you know, have people with more authority than us to decide whether this race actually finishes or not. Whether the results will stay the same. Because I wouldn't honestly be surprised if the game calculates something wrong at the end. But yeah, it's just such a shame that we as commentators can't invite anyone. Because if we could invite Michael, this situation would probably be fixed. As the host, he's the main. You know, if he disconnects, that's when the issues arise. So, yeah, not the best image for us tonight, unfortunately. Nothing we as commentators can do, unfortunately, apart from try and puzzle all the pieces together, really, and see what's actually going on, because we're bringing you this footage and we're trying to work out what's going on. We're as confused as probably everyone watching right now as to what's going on, but we start whatever lap we're on, with Simon still leading, from Hypers, from Crow, from Bono. That's the top 4, and we know that for certain, because these 4 drivers are not desynced in any way, shape or form, because they can, well, Bono can definitely see the top 2 drivers in front of him. Crow and Hypers still only think that Bono's their only threat in today's Grand Prix. But the one thing to mention is that the skies are starting to get a little bit darker, but I don't think we're definitely nearing the end of the Grand Prix, so I don't think any rain will be of nature. So don't think we'll have anything to challenge. Bono is also desynced. Oh dear.
Right. Yes, Bono trying to get past there. It looks like they are Also
So
desynced.
never mind. Exactly what I said. No, Bono can't see these 2 drivers in front. So he's thinking. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone can't see anyone. Well, can't see most drivers, for example, because, well, Bono, probably at the pace he's going at, is probably going to get past Crow. Let's see. Yep. Bumper cars redefined here. As they start again another lap. Yeah, it's very difficult to actually understand what's going on. Unfortunately, Michael, no fault of his own, being the main reason as to why everything's happening. But yeah, it just started a chain of events of what. Very very sad to see this Grand Prix ending. Or will it end in this sort of way? Because we were shaping up for a very exciting end. Simon's guaranteed to win this Grand Prix, you would imagine. But the fact that the drivers are still going on, give me the assumption that the drivers are still racing, and they are obviously counting down the laps. So we'll just have to wait and find out, really, because hopefully at one stage we'll just see COG Simon with a checkered flag next to it sooner rather than later, because I'm not 100% sure how long lap 19 has actually lasted. Given the fact that Simon's now he's on 15 minutes on this lap, the lap time being around 1:31.2. Maybe that's around 7 or 8 laps. He's crossed the line. His AI slowed. That means he's crossed the line. Hypers has also crossed the line. They're all slowing down. They're no longer in control of their cars. That's got to be the strangest Grand Prix I've ever commentated on.
Yes, and it looks like the drivers have seen it, so let's just go over onto this screen so we don't get any of the chats into the stream. Looks like the drivers have crossed the line. We're going to figure out what's gonna happen, since none of the results screen are coming up on my screen, at least. But yeah, we will be finding out.
Is there rain? Are you kidding me?
Is it raining? Is it now raining?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It is now raining. No, it's not. It's not raining.
I can see rain.
I
on my
can't
screen.
see rain. Oh yes, I can see rain now. It's raining. Right. Yes, as I mentioned, we will find out shortly what we will be doing. Of course, we apologise greatly for this. It is very unfortunate that we are once again experiencing technical difficulties, and it is very unfortunate that everything is out of our hands. There's nothing really we can do other than try and keep everything going and commentate to the best of our abilities. But yeah, we're very sorry for these technical difficulties. As I don't even think the race director is. No, we can't even.
No, the game is playing. The game is messing with our minds at the moment. Obviously, he doesn't want to play ball. Yeah, so great race, gents. Really enjoyed commentating over it. Yep. Let's hope for the exact same next week.
Who won?
Find out next. It's the life's biggest mystery. Who won this Grand Prix?
Yes, we can officially announce next week. You'll find the end results to this race. We're currently discussing in the chat for this game what we're going to do and when or from what lap all the the points will be carried out from, and then we'll find out what the final positions are. And I unfortunately don't think we'll find out in a suitable time this week. So, funnily enough, I think we will actually find out next week what the ending positions were to this race.
Yeah, speaking about little ending on a cliffhanger.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do we just end now and find the positions? I think that is the best thing we can do, since I don't think will we get an end to this, or
I don't know, because I don't want to end the stream and then something happens after. So we'll just play the waiting game for a few minutes and just find out what's actually going on. And once again, humongous apologies for everything that's happened tonight. You know, as a commentator, this is obviously the worst case scenario to commentate on. An event that doesn't even work. But as again we're mentioning in the chat, obviously Jan Friller, being the coordinator of this tier, doing a great job as he always does, has a lot more on his hands than he'd want to at the moment, and yeah, I don't think we will be hearing word for results as of now. Maybe we won't. This race won't even count. As I said, this is as big of a mystery that could make it like a TV episode on it. It's quite tremendous.
Yeah, you must say, but without a proper end, we can at least talk about the race it was shaping up to be. We had a 3, maybe 4-way fight for the win.
Wait, what?
The
game. Stop. Oh dear.
Yes, this is not the final positions we're getting on screen. The official final positions will be out in time for next week's Grand Prix. Unfortunately, you can't get them here tonight. It is, and we are apologizing hugely for that.
Oh dear. The classification screen is quite a sight to behold. The one thing that they've actually got right, gents, is that Simon has won.
Hey!
I think that's the only thing that we can declare official from this race, if this race becomes official. But we see drivers, Photon's 10 laps down, Leopard's 10 laps down, Michael's 10 laps down, Zones is 10 laps down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Camille came second, with Matthias third, Speedbori. Yeah, unfortunately, again, nothing we can do as commentators. So sorry for that. But we hope you enjoyed the Grand Prix that you did see, because I certainly enjoyed it up until that point. It was shaping up to be quite an exciting end, where the top 4 were separated by fine margins, and it would have been the last few laps would have been very interesting to see. But unfortunately, these things happen. Obviously, not nice to see, especially being the top tier of PC. But yeah, nothing we can do as commentators to help, apart from try and heal some of the damage, which hopefully we did somewhat. So yeah, that's probably going to be it. Nothing really else to say apart from just tune in next week, and you can just tune in the forums, apexonlineracing.com, and you'll actually see the PCF forum, go to that respective tier, and you might be able to see the actual results in the next upcoming days. But for now, we have nothing left to say. Yeah, the strangest race I've ever commentated on, let's just put it that way, gents.
Yeah, and yeah, strangest race, shaping up to be a fantastic final, but it was all taken away by technical difficulties. Unfortunately, these things happen. There's nothing we can do about it. we hope that these issues can be fixed for next week or for the coming weeks and not happen again. But as James mentioned, you can go on to Apex Online Racing's website and find out what the classifications officially will be in the next coming days, or you can tune in next week and we will talk a bit about the final classifications there. But until then, we hope to see you next week, and have a good one. Stay safe out there and stay at home, and have a good one, and goodbye.